Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 11. It's called Turncoat. Full spoilers for the episode as always. So, Rip, now brainwashed, after the Legion of Doom have messed with his brain data that they found in the last episode.
Yeah.
Are now using him, and he has set a trap for the Legends to come back to 1776, I believe is the year.
Yep.
And basically so he can break out of the ship and get their part of the Spear of Destiny.
It's a solid plan.
All revolving around killing Washington and then them going back. I was actually a little bit confused at first because they go back and they meet Washington and I'm like, wait a minute, he killed him at the end of the last episode. But it's a day later.
Yeah, I was really confused as well.
I get it now, no. So they kill him, he kills them to create the aberration, they go back to...
A day before.
I think they go back to a day before. They must do. That's the only way this makes sense.
That's what I thought, but we saw... So he speaks to Thorne, right? Rip speaks to Thorne and says he's killed Washington, so they'll be coming back. But this is when he gives all the soldiers the rifles, like the modern rifles, right?
Yeah, true.
But then we see them with the rifles later in the episode. So that has to have taken place after that. But I thought he'd already killed Washington at that point, and that's why I was really confused for this.
Oh, no, that's not that confusing. He said he killed Washington, but he's went back in time a day. He's telling Thawne in past tense because it's past tense to him.
Oh, so he shot Washington and then went back a day himself. Okay, I've got you.
Right.
I thought it was just a case of he knew that they were going to come, and he's saying, "Oh, I've killed them," and yeah, you're right. No, you have to come back a day himself.
It's the only way it works. It's the only way it makes sense. Right. So it has to be that. So the Legends go back, and the episode goes down a lot of different paths that I was not expecting. Everyone kind of ends up in their own little plot, for the most part.
Yeah.
Some of which are very good.
Also, just the whole thing was not what I was expecting, being Christmas.
February. I was not expecting a Christmas episode. But it is a time travel show. They can have Christmas whenever they want.
They can. It's just typically these air in December.
They didn't have time because they had the crossover, then they had one more. They had to wrap things up before mid-season. So this
I get that, and it's not something that really matters. It was still a good episode. It's just it was weird.
They wanted a Christmas episode. They had a Christmas episode.
Touché.
So let's tackle. Obviously, they go and get Washington and try and protect him, and him and Mick end up being taken away by the Redcoats. Rip's with them at first, but Rip ends up leaving to go do the thing with the ship. So we get this little comedy plot where Mick kind of corrupts George Washington.
Yeah, it's amusing.
And tells Washington he doesn't know the first thing about being an American, which is pretty funny.
It is.
Yeah.
And he becomes the ideal of Americans by the end.
To the point where he's got a statue now in DC. They fixed everything else, but now there's a statue of Mick.
I mean, he'll enjoy that, I'm sure.
So that was fun, but that's what that was. So they had Nate and Vixen finally kind of had a thing. And we've seen some proper glimpses of this early on, but to their credit, they've not been shoving it down our throats every week.
No, it's much better than last season's romances. Because I buy this one. They've got chemistry, and it's just kind of been bubbling away naturally, rather than being, oh, hey, remember, this is happening every week.
Yeah, but when they have, like, obviously they're talking about, they bond a little bit to talk about, oh, she's like camping, they're kind of bonding over breakfast when they're making breakfast. And then when they eventually go outside, because they're trying to get to Washington and Mick, they're trying to get to them to save them. And they're just sort of walking outside. And they're talking about the Wizard of Oz, because she gets that reference, which amusingly was also the reference that Captain America got in Avengers for the exact same joke.
Yeah, it was amusing.
But at the same time, I don't really blame them, because what other movies were big from her time period?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful.
But in that way, like, in terms of pop culture, like, think of a movie pre-1945 that's in pop culture.
Yeah.
It's just Wizard of Oz. There's nothing else.
I'm sure there's a couple if I wrap my brains, but...
There's classics, there's better films.
Classics, yeah.
But in terms of something that everyone just instantly gets, that the audience are going to get the reference to.
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz.
It's actually, while we're on this, it's interesting. It's the first time in a while that I've really felt that Amaya is from the 40s. Because for a lot of it, she kind of, even though we know she's not, she just feels like she's from, 2016, 2017 with everyone else.
It's because they've given, on the ship, they've given her a wardrobe that just matches theirs. And
There's that, but it's her vocabulary. It never feels out of place. And obviously, she addressed it in this one where he says dating. She's like, oh, you mean courting? And you don't get any of that. We've not really had any of those moments before this.
I mean, it's a bit weird, but at the same time, I'm like, well, what does she normally talk about? She talks about combat. She's talking about the villains they're fighting, which are all just words that are new to her anyway, because they're all...
I know. I feel like a couple here and there peppered in.
Yeah.
Just to remind you. Maybe
But that scene worked quite well because they had chemistry, and they talked about the date, and then they talked about... And it's actually quite a little clever setup, because he actually plants the idea that, casual sex in the future is an okay thing.
Yeah, talks about Tinder.
Yeah, it comes back to bite him by the end of the episode when they have their moment, and they're using each other's body heat for warmth because he's been in the water, gets hypothermia, and she's heating him up, which I'm sure he's enjoying very much, and they end up having sex in a random tent, which I don't have a problem with the scene out of context. I kind of have a problem with the fact that he's like, yeah, why don't we have sex? I mean, we need to go save Mick in Washington, but let's have sex.
I kind of buy it. He's just like, he was a bit delirious anyway from the hypothermia.
That was a bit, yeah.
And then he's just like, no, I'm enjoying this. Let's just
Just a little bit selfish, all I'm saying. That's it, though. I did like the running joke where when they were forming all the plans, they're like, we'll go and save Washington. And Mick. That was implied.
Yeah.
That was a nice little running joke. But no, I think the chemistry works quite well, and as much as we've left it in a place where, okay, there's a little bit of drama because she's like, oh no, it was just, you said this was a normal thing, this is just a casual, no strings attached, we shouldn't be together because we're comrades, and he has to pretend, and he gives her the Christmas present of the ruby slippers from Wizard of Oz that he's replicated with the ship's replicator, and it is sort of typical drama, but at the same time, it is 100 million times better than the romance drama from last season, where every single scene was the exact same. We shouldn't be together. I'm destined to be with Hawkman, but let's try it anyway.
That's the thing. At least this one, it's set up since her first one that she doesn't, get with teammates, and then it turned out she did, and then it went badly because he died. And then so you kind of get where she's coming from. It makes sense.
It makes sense. Although our last teammate couldn't turn to steel. I think that's
worth noting.
But no, I think do you know what really got to me in this episode, actually, just on a whole, is the show has been really good this season. This was a solid episode. And a lot of other fun things as well. We had Ray get stuck because obviously Rip sets off an EMP which disables everything on the ship. It disables the thingy that lets Firestorm be Firestorm, so they can't merge, and it disables Ray's suit, which he's in miniature form at the time. There was a lot of fun miniature Ray stuff in this, where you see him running around. They've got him running between the feet and all that when he's stuck being small, and then of course the highlight was when he runs away from the rat.
It was my favourite bit is just before the rat, where he's whistling the Legends theme.
I thought he was doing that.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. That's a bit
weird.
And
that was cracking me up. I don't know why. It's just...
Which actually reminds me of a really meta joke in Flash we forgot to mention.
We did.
About the door and the security for Star Labs, which really cracked me up.
Yeah.
Slight amendment. Well, I pretend that was in the Flash review, folks. But so we had that. But yeah, the point I was getting at is I care a lot more about the characters this season. Like, I actually like most of them.
Yeah, because they've earned it instead of just... I think this thing is with... You can boil it down to Nate and Amaya's relationship. It's been shown. We haven't been told about it. We've just seen them interact a lot.
We've seen them interact, but we've also seen them both on their own, and they've both had their own jokes. They've both had some of their own plots. We mentioned last week that Amaya's not maybe had like her own proper plot where she's had a proper arc, and it's just been kind of one note. But She has had her own moments. She's had her own jokes. She's kind of at least earned her keep that way. She's not just there to be love interest.
And also she is one of the new guys. Those two are they're the newbies, so we're supposed to care about them less than the people we already knew.
To an extent, but Nate's really grown on me. I think everyone else has grown on me a lot. This episode got surprisingly dark. When Rip shoots Sarah, I was like, oh crap, I wasn't expecting it to go this way.
Yeah.
And then and Jack's whole plot for the rest of the episode is he's basically dieharding around the ship as Rip and his redcoats are patrolling. He takes out the two sort of red shirts rather quickly.
Not the only Star Trek reference.
Not the only Star Trek reference. That's true.
I really enjoyed the other one actually.
Well, go on.
It was Stein. I'm a physicist, damn it, not a doctor. Which classic.
But the funny thing is I really wanted Jax to go, well, technically.
Yeah, I know.
Technically a physicist. You've probably got a doctorate, is all I'm saying. In fact, we know you do.
Does.
We know you do, but
yeah,
most physicists have doctorates.
Yeah.
I expect it from a physicist.
Yeah.
I know what he means, but still, technically.
It was amusing, is all I'm saying.
But yeah, him running around from Rip being proper evil, and then it's a bit of a shame that they kind of completely reverse it. But that moment where he snaps Sarah's neck.
Oh, it was so I was like, damn, was not seeing that coming.
It was proper dark, and I was like, wait, how did they bring her? And it was just, our brainwaves are still functioning. Gideon can do it. Like, okay.
I was like, okay, fine.
Moment itself, though, really good.
Yeah, so they brought Gideon back online. Like, they brought all the ship's power back on with a flick of a switch, right?
No, I got the impression that Ray was maybe doing before he got there. Like, that was the last part of his journey.
No, right, okay.
That's what I'm thinking, because it feels, just one switch?
Well, I was like, okay, there's a switch, maybe it's backup power, whatever, but why wasn't that taken out by the MP? And if that can just come back on, why can't your suit just come back on? Why can't you switch that back on?
Clearly it does at some point, because we see him at the end, he's back in full size.
Yeah, but during that whole bit, it's like, why can't you just switch it back on?
Because they're telling us that he can't, because he's not doing it.
Fine, I would have just liked some reasoning for this, that's all.
See, yeah, logically there's some holes here that they should have filled in, but at the same time it was so fun seeing him run around chasing being chased by a rat that I'm willing to go
I'm not going to complain too much. I just would have liked a line or two just explaining it.
I think this show has committed way bigger science and plot sins.
It has.
Way bigger. We were going round in circles, just insanity at the end of season 1 with the bollocks they were pulling. So
yeah,
no, I'm willing to forgive that. So Sarah's out of commission for a lot of the episode, but everyone else gets a lot of good stuff to do, which is great because it also sells the idea that she is the captain. They're all worried about losing her.
Yeah.
And Jax especially, when Jax thinks that she is dead, and he probably has. Obviously, I think his best moments are still probably the slavery episode, but since then, this is probably his best moment where he's like, "I'm going to kill Rip. No, this is it. That's another bitch who's going down." And Sarah, who has killed people and knows what that's like, talks him down because she doesn't want to. Again, it's showing her captain skills and how how she's developed as a character, but it also shows him having this struggling moment. This was a thoroughly solid episode. It had a mixture of fun, had a mixture of really dark moments I was not expecting, and it kind of advanced a lot of plot elements. So
it also had the fantastic Rory intro.
Oh yeah, because obviously they've been taking turns, and some of them have played a couple of times. Like Stein's had at least 2 or 3, Sarah's had 2 or 3, and they've all had a go. Obviously, the Legion of Doom did the villain version last week, but this week it was Mick doing the show mantra at the start, and he's like, "Why don't you idiots know this by now?"
It was like things get screwed up, so we go to stop them getting screwed up, but we screw things up even more.
Yeah, and then at the end, while he's eating a donut, he's like, "Who rates this crap?"
Yeah,
wonderful. Also very meta, which is what made me think actually of the Flash joke that I forgot to mention.
I also like. Also, they did a little thing on the opening music. Like obviously last week we got the villains version, but they did shake it up a little bit here. It wasn't Christmassy, but it was like colonial America.
It was
the little drums and stuff.
Later on, when Rip was stalking the ship, there was like an evil version of the actual Legends theme playing. Like it wasn't the Legion of Doom theme; it was like an actual the Legends theme, but with a sort of a darker, sort of sinister twist to it.
It's good stuff.
And the scene ended with the crew having Christmas dinner because one of them, I can't remember who, I think it was Ray, suggested that they should have a Christmas dinner because they need a slice of home.
Why not?
And this is where I realised I actually kind of care about all these characters now because I'm enjoying them just having Christmas dinner.
Yeah, it's the first time we've just seen him just sit around like this.
And Sarah standing up and making our call to arms, essentially, we're going to get ripped back, we're going to fix this, we're going to stop the Legion.
Yada yada yada.
You know what? Stuff. I'm into this. I'm into this team. I'm into this plot, and this was something that was not true last season.
It's crazy because obviously at the end of last season we were like, we really don't want to watch a season 2 at all.
I hated all the characters by the end of last season.
Yeah, we were at a point where we're only watching this for completionist sake next year, the same way we do Arrow at the minute.
No, but they've completely turned it around.
Yeah, it's one of my favourites now.
Yeah, it's solid, it's fun, it knows what it is. And I think the meta jokes on both this and Flash show that they're clearly aware of the shows they're making, they're aware of the issues. Another joke I didn't make actually on Flash was, without getting into details, because I don't want to, just in case for some reason you've not watched Flash and you've watched Legends and you don't want it spoiled, but I'll just say that something happening on Flash makes me pretty sure that someone's going to die. Because there's a track record for anyone
yeah.
who, you know what
does
I mean.
a certain thing.
Yeah. He's a goner, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're clearly aware of this, which is why I think that they're actually getting quite good at subverting our expectations a little bit. And I feel like Legends Season 2 has been a big improvement. I feel like this part of The Flash, before Christmas, before the crossover, it was a little bit murky. But I feel like this side of it's actually an improvement on Season 2.
Yeah, I also think Legends gets away with this a little bit more because it doesn't have to play it quite as straight. Because while Flash is aware, it's not as overtly funny. It's still playing it very straight for the most part.
There's a lot of humour in it, but yeah.
There is humour, but not in the same way of Legends, which is almost a comedy show at this point. It's leaning into that territory.
You say that, but then we get that scene with
Rip
crushing her neck. That was dark.
It was dark. It was really dark.
I was not expecting it. I don't want to lose Sarah. I like Sarah a lot, but part of me wishes that they stuck that. They let it stick and made Rip the ultimate villain tragic villain.
Yeah. But I mean, Legends has actual cutaway gags, like the elevator scene a couple episodes ago. Flash doesn't typically do cutaways.
It doesn't, but that's good. It's good that they're different. It's good that they mix things up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because I probably like the characters on Supergirl the most, but Supergirl probably has the weakest sort of villains and overall plot.
Oh, definitely.
Flash probably has the best plot.
Legends is this nice mixture, isn't it? Where this
is
really
ground,
fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comedy here, but there's some great plot moments as well when it really tries.
And Arrow's shit, and that's your spectrum.
I didn't even think I needed to mention Arrow, to be honest.
That's your spectrum.
Yeah. Hey, 3 out of 4. I'm down for that.
Did we skip over anything that's worth talking about?
So we did Nana Maya.
Mm-hmm.
We did Mick
Ray
in Washington. We did Ray.
Did Mick in Washington.
Sarah's out of commission.
The
Stein's
Jax.
with her for the most part.
Stein's with her, and Stein's panicking because he's trying to pull bullets out of her and doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah. We did Jax, and we talked about Rip. No, I think we covered it all.
Good. There you go. That's Legends of Tomorrow. Of course, as soon as we stop recording, I'm going to think of something we didn't say.
Every time it happens.
Every time. So, yeah, thanks very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of this episode of Legends in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter, meld_fuzz. Individual Twitter's on the screen. Keep being superheroes, guys. I need a better catchphrase for these superhero shows. I don't know what to say at the end of them. Blah, 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 blah. See you next time, guys.